Okay, so it started.
Evening?
Good
Yeah,
evening.
yeah, yeah. You can start directly, Thora, please.
Hi, it started. Okay. All right. So good evening, everyone. Uh, am I loud and clear to everyone? All the attendees? Okay. So thank you. Thank you for confirmation. So yesterday we've seen a lot of tools, and actually somehow I wanted to show something more, and it slipped out of my mind. So I thought, hey, today before we go further, and I'll just show you, two more good tools, just two small little tools for your that can help you in your company. Okay, so let me just help you on that part. So let me start this. Okay, as you can see the screen. Okay, and I'm going to talk about data recovery tool. I'm going to talk about data purging. So let me first quickly tell you. Okay. Uh, Whenever you delete anything from your computer system, okay, it really doesn't get deleted. The files always remains, especially on your hard drives. Maximum amount of data is always there. There are very rare chances that you will have complete deletion on the system. So this is a very helpful tool to all, which I'm going to share. Uh, so it's not 100% accurate, but it works well. Uh, we can go with the freemium version or premium version depending upon our requirements. Now, there's a data recovery tool which I'm going to share, which is known as Recuva. Okay, now earlier Recuva was a separate entity, then it was later purchased by Piriform and kept under the CCleaner panel. So CCleaner most probably would be you will be using it only most of you to clean the cache of your system. So now Recuva is one of the tool which will help you recover the files in your computer system. Okay, so I'll just uh, turn it on for you. I'll show you how it can work. So all you need to do is like when you start with this Recuva, there are different types of file which you might want to recover. So if I'm sure can you see my screen? It's there. The tool is on. So now I can have all files selected. I can have only pictures. I can have music, documents. If I'm looking for a particular file, I can mention that. If I'm looking for all the files which are deleted from my PC by mistake, sometimes it happens we delete and then we need that, or sometimes we format and we need the data back. That happens. So then file location, it can we can actually look for in a recycle bin or in a specific folder if I'm searching for, or sometimes I'm not sure. I don't know where it is. Even that happens anywhere in the computer system. So I have deleted the files and now I don't know. You can just select whichever option. Okay, you can go to next. When you do deep scan, it will start searching the meta files also, not just the files, but also the metadata files. So it might not be that entire files available, but you might have, you can always get the traces of the files that it ever existed. And it will start checking to the slack space of your drive. Now, every drive has its own slack space. Uh, it's a hidden space, just for your understanding. Okay, in a short, I'll just like to explain you what is a slack space. For example, in your office, the capacity is like 20 people can sit in a room, but on the chair. Now the chairs have their own set of capacity. So if you remove all the chairs, actual space could be 40. But then with the chairs, you can always have only 20 people sitting in a room. So there is a lot of space getting wasted because of the placement of the chairs in the room. that wasted space is considered as slack space. Same happens on drives also when you're trying to save the data gets saved in an area wherein a lot of slack space is there. So you might not be when, for example, I'm trying to save a file which is of 1 MB, but my allocation which is happening, it might happen 2 MB, just for example. So there is 1 MB which is getting wasted because when the area is allocated, it is allocated at a fixed size, whether the size of the actual file is whatever, but wherever you're saving a file, the computer system allocates an extra space to it, or fixed standard size space to it, extra meaning fixed standard size space. So what happens here is in this scenario that there is a lot of space which gets wasted, and there sometimes there are certain files, junk files, and all they reside in. So it tries to search there as well. Okay. Moving further, if you start the operation, we'll start the entire process. I'll just cancel it for now. Even if I don't do, it's gonna take 35 seconds. So let it happen. So it's gonna fetch all the files which I have deleted. It is scanning all the folders. So right now I have not used deep scan, so it might not take much time. If I use deep scan, of course, when you're looking for some files, you need to use deep scan. It might take hours of time, okay, more than 2 hours or 3 hours, depending upon the size, and then it'll give you an outcome. So right now I'm just doing it. So a few more seconds and it'll be done. Yes, for Mac also, the Recuva is available. You can I've shared already in the group. I've shared the PPT which has all the links of this data recovery. So you can go to this ccleaner.com/recuva, and then you'll be able to get the Mac version also. It's available for that's the reason I chose a tool which is available for both, so it becomes easier for. So they have their Macintosh version as well. Okay, so space free. Fatafat, 2 more minutes. All right. Will it work on the network drive file? No, it's for the system. It's for the system. It's not for the network file. There's this tool for mobile too. For mobile phones, you can check CCleaner tool is there, Recuva is there. So you can check to the Play Store whether they have updated. Okay. Actually, in mobile phones, the memory which is there, it's an EEPROM, like electronically erasable and programmable read-only memory. So what happens in an EEPROM, whatever has been stored gets flashed, so it's difficult to recover. I mean, almost not, you know, very difficult to recover from the mobile. Okay. Well, you can see a lot of files. God knows, so many files which were deleted. Could be it could be a lot of updates. Like when we install updates, a lot of updates are also deleted. So you can see, they have a status size excellent. Excellent means like you can recover it. Very low, poor chances means like very rare chances of recovering it. So so many files. So most of there are Microsoft updates, and I'll also try to recover the updates. And I keep scrolling. There's so many files. Found like 75,695 files. Okay, so I'm not going to actually work on it. I'll just cancel it. Okay, so that's a data recovery tool. It recovers, and if you want the file, you can just right click and recover that. All right. After that, there is another tool which is data purging tool. So at times that it happens that you want to really delete the data. You don't want the data to be there on the system. Why? Because maybe it is a confidential password you have written, and you don't want somebody coming and using Recuva tool and recovering it back. So you need to purge the file, means you need to shred the file completely. So there is this tool known as a file a shredder. Okay, and this is an external tool, but honestly I don't use file shredder. I have I'm showing it to you. It's a freely available tool for you, but I personally use Bitdefender's inbuilt shredder because it's a paid tool. I believe in paid. I don't believe in free stuff. Premium softwares are, they have a little, you can say, less features and all, and they're less trustworthy. So somewhere I don't believe in freemium much. I sorry, I prefer using the paid versions of the tool. So I'll just show you. This is the file shredder. In case I want to delete a file for lifetime, and I don't want that file to be, I just need to click to add the file, and whichever path I will select on my computer system. So let me just add a file to my system and quickly provide that. For example, I'm using this Control C. All right, so here it is. So I'm just trying to pick up a random file and then open and shred the files now. So if I click on shredding it, it's gonna completely, boom, obsolete the file. Otherwise, what I believe in using is, I believe Bitdefender's right click. So Bitdefender has got inbuilt file shredder. From the recycle bin especially, I would highly recommend on your recycle bin when you are using. Don't just right click and clean empty recycle bin, ठीक है, but actually shred the files. Means it will deep clean and you just throw away the files. So in Bitdefender, if you can see my screen, you have this Bitdefender's file shredder. So or maybe you can use that free file shredder if you don't have. Mostly anti-malware systems they give you. So it will completely purge the data. So how to purge the data permanently in the hard disk? Same way, use the file shredder, right click on the file and just gone. Entire data would be gone. Okay. So, but then still, they clean up to an extent. As I always say, there are always chances that you can recover the files. So that's the reason. So then there is this file shredder of Bitdefender. All right. So the two good tools you've got to know. One is to recover and one is to completely clean the system. So these two are remaining. I've already shared the links and everything, so you can do that. So when file deleted from the pen drive, where it goes and will be recovered, the files are in the pen drive only. So I might have to take a separate session on how the data is stored on the drive. That's a very different understanding. I might have to explain you differently. But for now, just imagine that, yeah, it's there. Slack files will be there on other hard disk. Sorry, Slack files will be there on the hard disk. OS files doesn't get erased, right? Slack files are not there. Slack space is there. So files can be stored there. Those files doesn't get erased. No, we can clean them using the file shredders. We can clean them. And how to purge the data permanently into the in the hard disk? Same, sir. Permanently purging means file shredding. So use file shredders to permanently purge it from the hard drive. They'll be gone. So maybe at least for a novice techie, it becomes a little difficult to recover using any damn Recuva or whatever softwares. But yeah, there are forensic tools available by which we can even recover even after file shredding. Uh, to an extent, not all, not all. There are always trial and errors. So technology is something which you won't get a complete 100% guarantee, but there'll be always chances of mitigating. So that's the reason we always, in security, we never say it's 100% secure. We always say it's just a chance. We try to mitigate. That's it. All right. So all right. So now after this, what I'm gonna actually explain, uh, we'll be talking about our next topic, and well, that is to understand the security frameworks. So now, as I mentioned about the security, uh, we'll be learning these security frameworks now. So what are security frameworks? Let us understand that. होते क्या है ये? I'm going to discuss two good security frameworks with you today. Not completely. Now we can't complete the security framework. Understanding and doing it itself is a coursework for a good amount of time. So it can't be done overnight. But yes, I will give you an overview of two good security frameworks. Okay. We'll be learning about COBIT. I'm sure people who are either CISAs or who are, mostly chartered accountants are CISAs or DSAs, or maybe who are connected to ISACA for that matter. I'm sure you might have heard about this. So they know COBIT, and then there is Octave, another model which we are going to discuss. So I'll give you a little idea about it. First thing is security framework. Why do we need a security framework and what it is? That is very important to understand. Now, to give you an idea, uh, I'm sorry, my presentation, I have not played anything yet. Please, can you reply the above? If you reset computer, can recover it? Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yes, you can try. Even after operating system has been completely factory formatted, you can try it. It can recover as maximum as possible, but there's no guarantee. Yeah, it's still you can always try. So to get the files still out instead of recover, then there are forensic techniques. You can use that. So that can recover even more better. Like there's a pro discover, autopsy, all these tools are there by which we can do that. All right. So coming back to our topic to understand a security framework. Now, security framework is a set of guideline. Okay. My presentation is not there. Screen is blank. I'm just on an audio currently, just telling you something, and then I'll open a couple of presentations to show you. So, a security framework is a set of guideline which has been developed to give you, a guidance on how to implement security in your organization. Now, generally, frameworks are made for organization. Uh, they're not made for home and individual. The idea of a security framework is to be implemented in a particular organization to safeguard and to make sure that none of the attacks can happen and things go smooth. So they try. Again, these are not quick fixes. Try to understand. A security framework is not a quick fix that today you implemented and quickly everything gets secured. No, it's not a quick fix. It takes time. You need to implement it, and the implementation goes on with the time, and then it works. uh, it's not a quick solution to your security needs also. That or it's not a software. A security framework is not a software which you just install and done. Ho gaya. Not like an anti-malware software that you install it and now anti-malware will keep on taking care. No, it's not that. So it is a holistic approach towards an entire organization. Inline a lot many things, get things into a better place. So what do they inline? What do they try to inline? That's very important to understand. If you remember, I've spoken to you during my first lecture. There is something which is known as an information system. So there, this entire information system, which is consisting of the five domains, okay, these security frameworks are made in such way that it is going to cover all these five domains and going to cover all the aspects of them and will try to harden the security as much as possible to mitigate risk as well as threat. So there are two different things. There is risk and then there is threat. Will try to mitigate. Now, get the words very clear. It is not going to completely um, remove. It's going to mitigate. It's going to control. Okay. Uh, Video not showing. Guys, please listen. I said I'm not playing anything. Just a moment. I'm just saying. Just listen to me. Uh, uh, Before I would actually play a presentation, I want to talk to you. So I'm just telling you, you will not be able to relate the speech, but you need to listen, then you will be able to manage. Even if I open something, I don't know. Uh, It's not always PPT, and PPTs don't cover everything. They are limited. So, okay. Just for your happiness, I'll open it. Maybe if that can help. Okay, here it is. All right. So I'm just. Uh, can you start your video so that can view yourself? Okay. Okay. I have turned the PPT on. We first need to listen, then we can always work on PPTs. All right. I think now it's there in front of us. You can enjoy. You can just enjoy the PPT. What's there? So I'm not going to talk what's there on this. So, as I said, today we are going to learn about two different frameworks. One is Corbit, another is Octave. First, Corbit we're gonna learn, and now the presentation which I have opened here. Now, this is coming directly from the genuine Isaka. Okay, I'm going to talk about Corbit 5. Now, Corbit has several versions. Okay, one of the security framework, as I said, it has several versions, and I'm going to talk about COVID 5 version because that was the second last stable version. After that, COVID 2019 has come. So in IT, we always prefer being on stable version because it has been implemented successfully for a couple of years, and so we trust a version prior to it, especially on a development side when we explaining COVID 5 version a little bit. Now, I might not be able to cover entirely, but we'll give you a glimpse of Hobbit 5. What is it? Now it has come from Isaka. So I'll just show you from where exactly you can download all the data of Hobbit. Okay, you don't need to actually hunt anywhere else. Directly, just go to Isaka's website. Isaka Hobbit. Right, that is it. You don't need to really hunt for so Isaka will give you the correct. Just go to isaka.org and they'll help you with it. And they'll give you the entire corporate model. Now, what I have, the presentations here in front of me, they all are these things have come from a trusted source who has created as it is. I don't prefer adding my own flavor into it. It will lose its own genuineness. It will lose. So I don't want to add my own flavor and mirch masala to it. The framework has come as it is. We will learn as it is. Okay. So you should always learn the frameworks directly from the person, from the source. Okay. Right. Is the voice So is my voice proper again? Okay, thank you. All right, guys. So let's have a lecture and humble request, people, just calm down. Maybe I need you all to message, not a problem, but okay. So I'm sorry if you missed out on what I spoke. I'll repeat what I said. Okay. So as I said, now Corbett is one of the framework which we are going to learn, and there are many such frameworks. There is another which I've chosen is an octave model. Okay. Out of these, now these two have come from a trusted source and they are widely implemented. Most of you would be knowing about Corbett's source, that is Isaka, because as I believe maximum chartered accountant community is connected to Isaka for IT audits and for doing CISA certifications and doing DISA certification. Okay, so maybe with that objective, I prefer teaching the same from the trusted source, that is from Osaka. So the presentations which I have to show you today, they are directly from Osaka. It's not from my end. I don't purposely want to edit any flavor of my own to it because then the original presentation will lose its essence. So I don't want that to happen. All right. So here you go. So let's try to understand what's Corbett. Now, Corbett is just one of the framework of Isaka. And what is Isaka? Most of us we know it is Information System Audit and Control Association. Okay, which is an international professional association affiliated member of International Federation of Accountants and IT Governance. So maximum chartered accountants are much familiar to it. So Isaka, you know what it is, so I'll just go with the COBIT. The COBIT is an IT governance framework supporting toolset that allows managers to bridge the gap between the control requirements. Now, try to understand these words. They're very important to understand. Each and every word of this definition has something to say very beautiful. Okay, so let us understand the beauty of it. So the COBIT is an IT governance framework. It's a framework. It's not something which is a quick fix. Get that very straight. It's not a software. It's not a quick fix or it's not some implementation. You can say as a part of hardware or a software or so. It's a framework. It's an idea. Means एक ढांचा है आप अपने हिसाब से उसे यूज कर सकते हो you can always modify it, you can always use some part of it. Okay, so that is a framework. It's supporting tool sets. Now when they say tool sets does not mean softwares. In here tool sets are the guidelines, the books, the directions what they have given. Okay, you need to work on those directions. It is not showing you a perfect software to be used. So that allows managers to bridge the gap between the control requirements. Now this is for the managers, those who are managing the companies. So they are going to bridge the gap between the control requirements, technical issues, and business risk. So it's somewhere going to control the security part of your entire company. So your business risk, the technical issues, and the control requirements. So when you have control requirements in line, there are very low chances of having security risk. The COBIT enables clear policy development and good practice for IT control throughout organization. Simple. If you have all the good practices in your IT or in your IT organization, then with all the good practices, you will automatically mitigate a lot of risk, especially security risk. You don't need to really get in more softwares or hardwares. Sometimes even by not getting additional softwares and hardwares, by only implementing correct practices, somewhere you will be able to control a good amount of security risk. Okay, I said good amount, does not mean complete. Okay. COVID emphasized regulatory compliance helps organization to increase the value attained from IT, enables alignments, and simplifies the implementation of the COVID framework. So this is completely from the ISACA's website, and it has to be delivered that way, I believe, because frameworks are something which have been designed over a period by a lot of people and the organizations. It's better if we ourselves don't add anything to it, and we should accept it as it is, because it has come from the throughout research from a lot of people and companies with their set of experience. So COBIT uses as a maturity model means assessing the maturity of the process, which is described in the certain set of domains. Okay, so it has its set of own domains. It is made up of set of domains, set of processes, and the activities. So I'll explain you what domains, what processes, and what activities it is made up of. Okay, so I hope this much is clear to all. Okay, sorry. All right. Uh, Thank you, everyone. See, the chat message board is open, but please, whenever I request you to answer, that time only you answer. So it becomes easier for everyone. Okay. So till now, this is clear. Now let's go further to make you understand. Now COVID is made up of number of domains, processes, activities. Now we'll see what domains we are talking about. So it starts with the planning and organization domain, like which is known as a PO. There is acquire and implement domain. There is deliver and support domain. There is a monitor and evaluate domain, and these domains consist of their own set of activities and their own set of processes. We're gonna, I'll quickly take you to what processes it has, okay, and what activities are there in these domains. The first domain of COBIT is planning and organizing. So whenever in any organization you need to implement security, you need to have a certain set of protocols or whatever changes you want to make to have a better security implementation. You first need to plan. Okay, so that is the primary phase. I'm sure we all know it. So the planning and organize phase is always first one. Now it consists of its own set of processes. It starts with PO1 to PO10, and all these 10 set of processes works on the planning and organization. First is defining a strategic IT plan and direction. So why it is a strategic IT plan and direction? Because it is different for every company, depending upon the business how it is, and depending upon the business process happening in a company. It needs to be a strategic plan. It cannot be a rigid plan. Why strategic? So that it is for a benefit, a balanced benefit rather, for everyone in the company. So for the company itself and its stakeholders. So that is the reason you need to have a strategic plan. Then defining the information architecture. So now defining and working on this information architecture is furthermore better explained in ITIL model, and that is IT infrastructure library, if you would be knowing. So there are a lot more models, and there are a lot more you can say again standards available and practices available. A lot of things are available to organize an organization. So this part is also again better mentioned here, that to define an information architecture, determine the technological directions. That is the third important part, where we need to understand the technological directions on what technologies you're working, and what directions you're looking for further. This is the part I would say in our the five domains. the technology part is being covered here. Defining the IT process, organization, and relationship. So defining a process, and if you remember, we've discussed about the five domains, and I mentioned that a process is also another very important part where the CIHI needs to be implemented. That's mentioned you during the first lecture, I remember. So, so defining that entire process, organization, relationship, managing the IT investment. Again, this is purely ITIL related. IT infrastructure library, ITIL, the full form, financial management for IT services. Now, one of the domain of ITIL they're talking about. Okay, so making sure the managing the entire IT investment correctly. It has to be, however it has come, it has to be managed correctly. It has to be used efficiently. Okay, now communicate the management aims and directions, the future plannings, managing the IT human resources. Most important to manage an IT human resource in an IT organization, or rather any human resource in an organization. But since we talked about an IT organization here, to understand the profit model is made for an IT organization. So they always talk about IT human resources. Then managing the quality, assessing and managing the IT risk. There are certain different types of information technology risk, and we have already seen a few. So assessing and managing that, and then finally manage the projects. To manage the projects, and there are many different models available in the software project management part. And some projects are not only about the software. So certain projects are non-tech projects and non-software based projects for an even in an IT company. Okay, not always necessary. It would be a software based project. Once that is done, acquire and implement. So now that you've planned and you've organized your directions, the another acquiring and implementation. Now it consists of its own seven different processes, which is identifying automated solutions, acquiring and maintaining application softwares. Now acquire and implement is all about trying to implement what you have planned. Okay, enabling the operations and using it, procure the IT resources, managing the changes. Now here, from ITIL, change management has come. So COBIT and ITIL has a lot of things in common. Okay, now ITIL is another framework which is developed in United Kingdom. So currently ITIL version 3 and 4 is there in the market. So 3 is the stable version and the fourth one is the latest. Install and activate solutions and changes. Again, release management and the change management, two parts of ITL. So when you try to implement, not always everything is correct. You need to change. There has to be some transition happening in what you have implemented. Okay, sometimes you do mistakes. The implementation might go wrong. Okay, or sometimes your entire plan might go wrong. So this is a circular phase. If in case something goes wrong, you need to go back to plan. You need to go back there up. Okay. Once everything is implemented and things are going, good to go, then again deliver and support. So now it's a time, one step moving ahead, wherein you will be delivering your entire system and support. Now things are running perfect in an organization, and continual service improvement is going to happen. So here again, entire ITIL is coming to the picture. Deliver and support is more about ITIL. So it consists of its own several 13 points or 13 processes, sorry. So the first one is defining and managing the services. That is coming from the service level management and service level agreement. Uh, then comes the managing the third party services. Then comes managing performance and capacity, which is capacity management. So this is gonna capacity management is gonna define the amount of capacity your organization have to give the service. Now, IT industry is considered as a service-based industry. Okay, even if your company is manufacturing softwares, now these softwares are a part of a service. So you may deliver the software to another company in a B2B scale, but again, you need to provide a support. Or if you are a company who has created your own software, you are not going to give it away to people. Like for example, simple example, if you're using WhatsApp today, WhatsApp is one of the proprietary software of now Mark Zuckerberg, of course, the Facebook. But when you install an application, you are only using its service. You are not owning it. You don't have an ownership to it. So that is the reason they always say IT industry is a service industry. There's a lot of service give is happening. Okay. So in this scenario, managing the performance of the capacity, now which capacity of the service which you are delivering, okay, that has been taken care. Ensuring the continuous service, as I said, continuous service improvement should happen. It's not something which is done and dusted, implemented and done. So if you see, there are always security updates coming to your cell phone applications. So that is a part of continuous service management, wherein they keep on giving you patches. Your mobile phone right now, which you are using, receives service patches almost every day. Almost every day. Every single day you receive that. Your Android gets an update almost every month, and then your companies, the service providers, for example, if you are using a Samsung phone and you are using some another MI phone or whatever phone, so these service providers, they send you their own security patches. So you will always find your cell phones getting upgraded like every second day, or in fact daily for that matter, if you have certain apps, one or the other. So continuous service improvement, it keeps on happening in an IT company for fixing security. Now, why this is happening? This is very important to understand at this point, because sometimes we feel, what are they really doing? Are they really even fixing the security bug? Yes, they are. Constantly there is a vulnerability which is found. There are terms which are changed, not only in their own application, but in the third party applications who support that application is taking, rather, or where the application is being installed. I'll tell you why. You might think, "Hey, why can't they just build one robust system, okay, and things go right?" Yes, they can build a robust system, but information technology is so dynamic. To code something, for example, if we are coding an application is coded using third-party languages and libraries and tools. Now, these third-party languages, libraries, and tools, they are sometimes getting vulnerable. There are new quick fixes coming. There are new security updates coming. The application where it is getting installed and the application where it is running, the operating system, supporting operating system, or the system software which is supporting that application runs out of or runs out of the security and comes up with a vulnerability, or it comes up with some new update. Sometimes it comes to give a new user experience, but the new user experience comes with its own set of vulnerabilities. So hence, in short, the process is continuously improvement. That is the reason they talk about continuous service improvement. Then ensuring the system security, identifying and allocate the cost. So now you do security management. There is much more in security management. So entire module which is getting implemented of COBIT is a part of security management. Okay. And then comes the financial management for IT service. So to define finance in IT is like, it's a biggest task. It's a biggest task. I'll tell you one simple example, one small example where you will understand it's very difficult to define cost in IT. Now, what happens here is, you're a chart accountant, you need a website, and you're looking for a service provider to make a website for you. Okay, so very simple. The service provider is going to ask you some XYZ amount. Like for example, for a chart accountant, a service provider has asked like 10,000 rupees, just example. And the service provider thinks, in 10,000 rupees, I'll probably be building two nice pages, one landing page and one a contact page, or maybe here into one or two more pages, so like whatever, just example. So he's going to create like 3 to 4 random good pages of a site where he's going to put information and everything and going to deliver it to. To make that happen, the IT consultant would think that he probably can take roughly 10 days. So in a good 10 days period, if you're going to deliver your 10K site, and will be done and dusted and over. But now what happens here in this scenario is, he'll deliver you something, but then you will come up saying, no, I didn't like this feature, I didn't like this design. The expectations are much more. Now, if just imagine if somebody is now this is a joke which we generally discuss. So the joke is, to give you an idea of why the problem of the cost which is bursting in IT industry, always it bursts. If there's a civil engineer who's built a building, okay, and now the building is built, the design has been shown to you first. You approve the design of the building. The building is built, and after the building is built, now you're not liking it. The contractor has built the building, you have given money, and you've got the building, but now you're not liking it. Now, will you tell your contractor to go and break the entire building and rebuild it again because I'm not liking it? You won't say because you know it's a Herculean task. But in IT, this happens. You build a software, you make a website, and your client will come up and say, "Okay, आपको क्या करना है? Delete ही तो करना है." So it's very easy to say, just press the delete button and just get over it and get me something new. Okay, so maybe like uh, with this scenario, there is a high chances that the cost burst in IT because where you were giving like 10 days, you are going to give more than 10 days, like 20 days. The time doubles up and you don't even realize what went wrong. So that is the reason financial management for IT services is very difficult. Because till the time the service taker, I won't say customer, the service taker doesn't get satisfied, the service giver always have to keep on improving. Moving further, educate and train users. So that's again another part wherein you need to educate your users that how they need to use and behave in the system environment. Okay, because not everyone is tech savvy, so you need to educate them. Manage service desk and incidents. So incident management is another part which will be discussed in the computer forensic part and incident management part when I'll be taking. But yeah, to give you an idea, incident management, if there is any incident which is happening, good, bad, God knows, something has gone wrong, you need to manage it. You need to take preventive actions there and there. For example, server going down. Manage the configurations, which is a part of configuration management. Then manage the problems, managing the data, manage the physical environment, operations, everything. Now, these all are the parts of IT, IL, and these are 13 different parts in a deliver and support, which you manage to understand and ensure that the quality of service seamlessly keeps on going. So that's part which is covered in topic. Then monitor and evaluate consists of four good processes: monitoring and evaluate the IT process. Now, it'll keep on monitoring once the processes are all set and good to go, they're going. So it's not all about fixing new patches, it's all about understanding and monitoring those services and processes which have been implemented successfully and they are just going seamless. Uh, Sorry, it's a theory overhead. Yes, it is because what we are learning today. Okay, that's more of a framework. So frameworks are a part of theory. So that is the reason. To start with, I showed you two tools to just to keep your mind a little live. So yeah, theories are that way a little bit, but these are not theories actually. Uh, in science, we don't call them as only theories because there is a difference. So in just a theory, just a moment, I'll help you with your answers. I'll help you with your answers. So let me tell you. So generally, when I explain such things to my students, I always tell them, so don't consider it as a theory. So these are the ones. These are the, you can say, the thinking protocols. This gives you more of thinking. It's not something which you just learn and these are more of implementations. We need to understand each and every set of processes which are there inside that. So if you consider them just as a theory, it's not a lullaby that you can just listen and go off to sleep. It's not a lullaby. Uh, Going further to the questions, is COVID more focused on IT than on security? Uh, COVID is focused on the IT security. Now, to align security, you first need to align IT. If information technology in an organization is aligned, the securities automatically align. So they focus on the root. What exactly is a framework? All right, so I explained that earlier. I'll repeat it once again. A framework is an idea, or I would say in Hindi, ढांचा. एक एक साँचा है, एक उसका प्रकार है. You can just use uh, those directions. So it gives you a set of guidelines which you can implement. You can choose not to, not there is no compulsion, but it'll give you an idea whether you want to implement. Like for example, it's a mold, or not just a mold. It's a set of molds rather. A framework is not just one mold. मोल्ड बोलेंगे तो बोलेंगे एक ही तरीके से. No, it's a set of molds like which gives you good practices and good guidelines which you have to implement in your entire organization to have a better security. Somebody's given example. ICI guidance notes on conducting audits of banks. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Super. Thank you, Parishit. So similarly, now to do banking audits, I don't know much about it, but you definitely have certain set of guidelines. Similarly, when you are doing IT audits, you have to follow guidelines of CISAs. Okay, that is a different guideline book. So COBIT is a framework if you want to implement security in your company and organization. And there are several other frameworks also for the same. Okay, so I hope I'm able to justify Bharat. All right, moving further. COVID identifies four classes of IT resources: people, application, information, and infrastructure. Okay, so it focuses more on people and the applications and the information and the infrastructure of a company. Okay, so as I said, there are five major domains of information system. It focuses on the four majors of it. Now, COVID is intended for management, business users, for IT, and auditors. So now it's just one liner on the same. Let me have the now from where to implement and what to do. There is a this PPTs are available now. I'll give it all to you, or you can go to isaka.org and can you can always download. Now there's a side of Isaka. I just opened it for you, and we all know that there is CISA, certified inclusive system auditors. So and then there is CRIS can see some of these other certifications available. So most of you would know, and there is COBIT. So you can go here and maybe you can download all the material. Whatever PPTs I'm showing you, whatever content I'm showing you, it's totally coming from Isaka. So, okay. So I don't want to go with all the PPT, but I wasn't going to explain you entire framework in detail. But let me just give you a little glimpse of it. So I won't be boring much of it. So I hope you can see my screen. So COBIT has its own set of principles. It works on five good principles: meeting the stakeholders' needs. Second is covering the enterprise end-to-end. Third is applying single integrated framework, enabling holistic approach, and separating governance from the management. Uh, these all the guidelines, these all the principles which are just there. Most of us, we are dealing with these. If not in IT, but in some other form, we are always dealing. We are meeting the stakeholders' needs. We are covering the entire enterprise end to end. Even you being a chartered accountant, when you are giving service to an organization, so you are already into this. Integrated framework. So maybe you have your own set of guidelines to on that. Voice, sorry, again went off. Okay, this I don't know today what's happening with the network. I don't know whether it's audible. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. So I was moving further. The third point, applying a single integrated framework. Now we have your own guidelines. I'm sure there would be guidelines in the field of standard accountancy also. And then enabling a holistic approach. Now, when this holistic approach, it's not, like I said, it takes time. It is an implementation. Enabling that holistic approach to gradually change things into better and separating the governance from the management. So you know the difference of management and governance more than me explaining you. Okay. Now, so I would like to know who are the stakeholders in an organization. Okay, I'll tell you. Stakeholders are those people who are directly or indirectly connected to an organization. To give you one example, for example, if you are working for an IT company, so in an IT company and the company is developing softwares and or they are making mobile application, so the user of the mobile application is also a stakeholder, the developer of the mobile application is a stakeholder, the software tester is a stakeholder, the company owner is a stakeholder. All those people who are somewhere connected with that, they are known as stakeholders. They are the participants, directly or indirectly. So meeting the stakeholders need means trying to meet the need of people who are dependent on the IT service, and the other side, people who are giving, so the service provider and the service taker, both. Uh, my mic is not having a loose connection because I use a Bluetooth one, and it's, there is no chance of loose connection here. Um, Sometimes because maybe today some network error could be there somewhere, God knows where, but there are chances of having a bad network today. Maybe that is the reason. So if in case you don't get the voice, I'll repeat. Don't worry, I'll repeat same thing. If you miss on something, I'll repeat that. All right. So can we say that all employees in the organization are the stakeholders if that person is connected in the either development or the testing or some or the phase of that application? Now, in an organization, there are watchmen also, security guards. So they are not the stakeholders. We will not call them as a stakeholder. They are nowhere connected. They don't even know whether the app is getting built in that company premises, but they are still part of they are still an employee of an organization. Possibly the organization is paying them a salary, so they could be a receptionist at an organization. Now they are not the stakeholder, directly or indirectly those who are taking part, that we call them as the stakeholders. Okay, can you try without Bluetooth? Okay, I can try without Bluetooth, not a problem. uh, Here you go. Now,
Hello.
hello. Yes, ma'am.
I think I'm able to hear you properly. So I don't
Okay.
think so there is any network issue from our side. Because from organizer side also it is perfectly fine, and from your side also I can say that I'm able to hear you properly.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. So then I'll continue because here network quality is showing good and estimated audio quality is also showing good in the software end. So, okay. All right. So let's go further. Another question is, can you explain ITIL? Now, okay, I'll give you an idea of ITIL. Uh, ITIL is Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Now, it is again another framework, in short, to be implemented in an organization to get a better outcome from an organization and to align an organization, especially IT service for IT service management. So the framework helps in ensuring the IT services to be managed correctly so that the customers are happy and the other side service providers are happy. Okay, so that's ITIL. So it's a huge subject by itself, but this is just a little idea of ITIL. moving further. Uh, Now, COVID 5's enablers, I might not be jumping to, much here, but just to give you an idea, these COVID 5 enablers are, it starts with the principles, policies, and the frameworks and consists of processes, organization structures, culture, ethics, and behaviors, people, skills, and competencies, services, infrastructure, and applications, and information. So it consists of all the these are the enablers of an entire COBIT. Okay, just I'll highlight. So it starts with its own principles, policies, and the framework. So the framework is going to have its own set of principles and policies. The companies have can have their own principles on which they are working. They can have their own policies. For simple example, there could be a company where they do not allow external pen drives. So that's their own company's policy that they don't allow any external pen drives coming inside the premises. Okay. Or there could be possibility that they don't allow anybody to connect to their network. Okay, that's fine. That's how the policies are. Why? To have a better security. They have set their own processes. There could be a standard process. For example, you work for an organization, and that organization to have a secured mechanism, they might have a process. If you want to have a software installed in your machine, you need to first give an application. Somebody will understand it. Well, not a written application, maybe, but whatsoever way they have made, so you'll ask for it, and those the software which you are required would be assessed and would be installed by only a technician. You can't do it yourself, and only you'll be given a certain set of rights in that software. So that could be one process you need to always follow. Organizational structure, okay, that is another enabler, wherein your entire organization's architecture comes right from the IT to non-IT both, culture, ethics, and behavior. Now, this is something which doesn't require an explanation. It comes by itself. So this is not a standard protocol, but it's a culture. That's how it is, like we say. And there are certain ethics and behaviors of an organization, how it works. Maybe your organization's culture is that everyone has a team meeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe we've developed a culture wherein morning at 9 o'clock people starts walking in and nobody comes before that, or whatever it is. It also uses resources such as information, of course. In IT, that's something very important and prominent. Services, infrastructure, and applications. Okay, what services they are giving, what infrastructure is there, and the application, and people, skills, and competencies. So that's a part of COVID enablers. So governance and management just will give you one a small little understanding, and then probably we can opt for the COVID. So what happens here is governance ensures that the enterprise objectives are achieved by evaluating the stakeholders' needs, conditions, and options, setting the direction through the prioritization and decision making. And third is monitoring the performance, compliance, and staying based on mission and objectives. So three engines: evaluation, direction, and monitoring. While in management, it works on plan, build, runs, and monitor. Those people who've already done their masters in business administration would be knowing this much better. Uh, Activities in alignment with the direction set by the government body. So will over the plan, build, run, and monitor. Okay. So not to bore you further, but now let me give you a little idea further. We'll go and understand a few FAQs of COVID so that that ends. Now, there are certain frequently asked questions of COVID, which will open up a little more avenue for you, and whatever I'm sure you would be having similar kind of questions. So it will solve all the answer and give you answer to all. So what is the purpose of COVID 5? As they said, so COVID 5 provides a comprehensive framework that assists the enterprise in achieving their objectives for the governance and management of the enterprise, information, and technology assets. So in one short and sweet line, they have defined the purpose. Further elaborating the same, they're saying simply stated, it helps enterprise created optimal value from IT maintaining a balance between realizing the benefits and optimizing the risk level and the resource use. So in short, it is a framework which is going to help you achieve a better objective in your organization so that good practices are there and the security is implemented. Who is using it? Then what are the commit objectives? I won't be going through all, but I'll definitely give you these resources. You will have the resources. I'll send you them. So at least you will have an idea of the same. Okay. Any questions here? Any questions? Any questions in commit? I hope this is clear. Can you explain PO2 again? Defining the information architecture, PO2 process. Okay, when you say defining an information architecture, it consists of all the softwares and the hardwares in the system, and defining the entire implementation structure of the same. So when you say when you are trying to define an architecture of a system, it will consist of the people and the resources which are being used for that. So that is how you define an information architecture. It's more toward management of IT department. Yes, definitely, yes, definitely. Because in IT department, security is prominent. So management of IT department, if you see only without security, then ITIL is there. Okay, IT infrastructure library is there for that. But this adds governance and this adds security aspects. Two things. It's going to add governance, and with that, there'll be security which is added. So it's not management. As in the last slide, we explained you that there's a difference between a governance and the difference between a management. So I hope that's this corporate objective is to lay foundation of IT governance. Yes. Is any training programs available? Yeah, definitely. ISACA. I thought people would be knowing. We can now ISACA is there. They have a Mumbai chapter at Vidya Vihar in the this Neelkant premises. So maybe you all can visit. You can have the training done from there. That is the only legit organization will provide you right training for the COVID. Sorry. Was it is Corbett 5 download free? Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely. You can go to the site and the guidelines are there. You can download. The tool set is there. It's available. So IT infrastructure, IT architecture, or ITIL all are same. ITIL is an entire library. IT infrastructure and architecture, they are on the similar lines. You can say. Then is it's online only? No, no, it's offline as well. You can visit, as I said, Neelkant Business Park. It's there in Vidya Vihar. You can visit their Mumbai chapter of Visakha is there. You can go and probably. Ah, Pareshji, thank you for the address. Perfect. So you can directly go there offline, and I think mostly ICI is very well connected to Visakha. So I thought people would be knowing it because chartered accountants they generally learn IT audits. They are close. Maximum faculty exchange program also happens. So, yeah, ICIA purpose. Yes, yes. So they both converge. Right. All right. So I hope no questions for COVID. Now we can go to another octave. After a deep breath, I know this. These these theories, what you call, so they are a little tough on brain. So that happens. That is the reason I try to play some funny games with you all to keep you live at times. But unfortunately, in this part, you know, we have to read a lot of stuff. Okay. Okay. Is COVID 5 and 2019 entire framework download free? Yes. Yes, sir. You can. You can get from anywhere. You can go to Tata's website. They have all the guidelines and everything. I have got this document from them, so you can also maybe take it from Tata. Or anybody who's connected to or who's a CSAC person or somebody, they can give you. It is available online, and they are not charging for it. So ISACA is a organization. It's a non-profit organization. They don't do profit on all this. They give information. It's joint collective. They do charge you for the trainings and all because that is the only cost they get. Rather, everything is being given free, entire framework and all. There is no charge. Huh? The person who's trained in Corbett will take his own charge to implement it. The person who knows how to implement it. So that they will implement. Otherwise, to understand Corbett, try comparing with ICFR. When we compare with the actual work performed, CAs understand better. What is ICFR, sir? Can I have the full form? I'm sorry, but um internal control over financial reporting. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I'm bad with. Thank you. Okay. Now for that, I need to actually understand the financial reportings and then compare because give me a little time. Maybe I'll figure out on that, and because I don't want to speak anything not just for the sake of it. Good that you have given me an idea. So what I can do is maybe I'll try to figure out on this part and get you more insight on the same. Okay, I'll come back with more insight. Internal control over financial reporting seems okay. So I'll talk in the chart accountant language. So till now I was always more of an IT guy coming from the science background. You It becomes a little difficult, but I'll do that. All right. Moving on with the Octave approach, it's another security risk assessment. What is Octave? Let's understand that. Again, now this is another model which was being developed in Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, so they have developed this model. We'll be learning about the same. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So, okay, the Octave approach. Now, since the name is Octave, there has to be certain 8 different things happening here. नाम ही बता रहा है Octave है. तो 8 कुछ अलग पार्ट होने चाहिए इसके अंदर और एग्जैक्टली ऐसा है. 8 अलग अलग कुछ तो चीजें हैं जो हम देखने वाले हैं. Okay, I'll just show you. So now the Octave approach was developed in the Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University to address the information security compliance challenges faced by the US Department of Defense. So they have developed for them US Department of Defense, and later on it started being used everywhere. So it's pretty easier to understand Octave. It's not as lengthy as COBIT. Now, COBIT has more of governance, and since it is more rooted with the entire IT implementation, while here in COBIT, it's little different. So, sorry, Octave, it's a little different. So, Octave focuses only on direct security and it focuses on the major implementation. So, how we will see that. Okay. So, isn't ISO 27001 framework broadly used in industry than COBIT 5 or Octave? See, ISO 27001 is also one of the framework. Okay, so it has its own foundations. Now, these frameworks, which one is broadly used and which one is less used, we can't comment. because to be honest, we really don't have that figure. Even if those figures come up in market saying there will be a promotional ones, yeah. So I can't comment on that really, which is used better. Every framework is good in its own way. Whichever you feel can fit the need of your organization can be used. At times, you can use a little bit from here and little bit from there also. Even that is fine. So it's not a standard rule that only Octave will be implemented. Okay, if you want to modify a little bit part of Octave or Orbit or maybe ISO 27001, you can. As far as you are solving the problem, it is fair. So the outcome should be that where you need to solve the problem and get the solution. And the solution all we want is a better security in our organization. That so both are for IT security and governance. Yeah, they are. So again, sorry, same as NABH. Again, I will need a full form, sir. This seems to be something different. I'm not well versed with every model. Okay, I have my limited set of knowledge. So I might not be doing all the frameworks in one go, but if I can have the full form, maybe I can understand and relate it at least. Yeah, okay. ISO is a certification for organization, corporate is a part, can be a part. No, no, no. No, ISO, no, no. What Rajendraji said, he said different. Uh, ISO certification is a different thing, and ISO 27001 framework is a different ballgame altogether. Acha, this is a certification for hospitals and healthcare, NABH. Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't know that. So I have my limited knowledge on that. Sorry for that. Okay, let me come back. Now, Octave has its own set of full form, operationally critical threat, asset, and vulnerability evaluation model or vulnerability evaluation approach. Okay, so it has its own body to understand. Start from critically enhancing the critically mitigating the threat, especially the critical threats, the asset and the vulnerabilities. So it works on that. So the full form of Octave is that the operationally critical threat, asset, and vulnerability evaluation. Now, how it works, I'll directly take you here. The model, as I said, comes with the three good phases. Organizational view is the first phase, and then technological view, and then the risk analysis. So these phases has got eight set of processes. Okay, so these eight set of processes are given here as the first process is to identify the senior management knowledge. The second one is to identify the operational area management knowledge. Third process is identifying the staff knowledge. Fourth is create the threat profile. So in the first phase, what they are doing here in Octave, Octave method is very crisp, very crisp. Okay. So what they are doing in the first phase is they are simply doing the doing the understanding of an organization, wherein they are trying to understand a particular organization, what are the loopholes and what are the vulnerabilities are there. So to do the same, they identify certain parts of an organization. So this is like the planning phase, which is there in Octave. Okay. So in Octave, we've got that planning and organization phase. So similar to that, you can say. So in that, it includes four different processes. First is identify the senior management knowledge. So they see whether the senior management of the company, what is the knowledge of that. Okay, because what happens, it all starts from the senior level management. Whatever implementation and the knowledge level they have, that flows down. So it's a tree from up to low. Then identifying the operational area management knowledge. Now, these are those key people, those who are involved in the exact process of the operations. when or rather IT operations, I would say. So they need to understand, okay, how about their knowledge. Third is identifying the staff knowledge. After that, the third layer, the tier three, you can say, in an organization, understanding the remaining staff's knowledge, and then create a threat profile. अब क्या होता है ना, कई बार ह्यूमंस ही बहुत सारे मिस्टेक करते हैं, तो सबसे पहले ये वही देखते हैं, we check that part only, whether how they create a threat profile. For example, they understood that there is a person in the staff, just to download movies. He has access to the office internet, and he goes to torrent and downloads the movies just for fun, because that person doesn't understand much about security, but to satisfy his own movie cravings, he's just using the torrent and doing it. Why? Because he's a staff and he's got that access. Or maybe it could be possible, there are certain admin stuff. Now क्या होता है ना कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ऐसे होता है, राइट्स जो है ना, वो मतलब पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को राइट देने वाले जो है, वो शायद वो दो तीन लोग होते हैं। अभी सीनियर मैनेजमेंट को भी ब्लॉक कर देंगे फायरवॉल से कि तुम ये नहीं यूज कर सकते, वो नहीं यूज कर सकते, उनके लिए सिक्योरिटी टाइट होती है। लेकिन कुछ ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो कहीं भी घुस सकते हैं, जैसे कि एक कंपनी का मतलब गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस के अंदर जैसे बोला जाता है कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस के चपरासी, वो कहीं भी जा सकते हैं, दे कैन गो टू द मोस्ट सीनियर मोस्ट पर्सन टू द लोएस्ट मोस्ट। तो ऐसे कुछ लोग होते हैं जिनका एक्सेस बहुत जगह होता है। उनकी वैसे प्रोफाइल अगर देखा जाए तो शायद इतनी बड़ी ना हो, वो प्रोफाइल, लेकिन उनका एक्सेस लेवल बहुत ज्यादा होता है, और कई बार यही गलती कर जा रहे हैं। तो दीज आर दैट स्टाफ। So there are chances. So in this octave method, they first try to have an organizational view. They try to understand. Okay. So after that, there is a second phase, understanding the technological view. तो ये तो वन व्यू हो गया। अब देख रहे हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजीज कौन सी है। प्रोसेस 5 कंसिस्ट ऑफ आइडेंटिफाइंग द की कंपोनेंट्स, एंड 6 कंसिस्ट ऑफ इवेल्युएट सिलेक्टेड कंपोनेंट्स। तो ये दोनों ना हैंड इन हैंड चलते हैं। की कंपोनेंट ढूंढे, टेक्नोलॉजी ढूंढ लिए, भाई ये कौन सी टेक्नोलॉजी यूज कर रहे हैं, ये लोग वीपीएन यूज कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं। अगर वर्क फ्रॉम होम दिया है तो वर्क फ्रॉम होम किस तरीके से हो रहा है, कौन से रिपोर्टिंग मैकेनिज्म यूज किए जा रहे हैं, क्या वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज है या वल्नरेबल है, उसके बारे में देखा जाता है। फिर ट्राई टू सी द टेक्नोलॉजिकल एंगल। ओके, आफ्टर दैट देयर इज रिस्क एनालिसिस, the third phase, which consists of the seventh and the eighth process of conducting a risk analysis, and eighth is develop a protection strategy and mitigation plan. So अभी risk analysis करेंगे तो उनको पता चलेगा कि कितना risk है in the entire system, and after that they develop a protection and a strategy plan to mitigate that. तो आउटपुट कुछ इस तरीके से बताए गए हैं इन फेजेस के। क्या क्या है, तो पहले फेज का आउटपुट कुछ इस तरीके से, कंसोलिडेटेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ओवरव्यू में क्या मिलेगा, क्रिटिकल एसेट्स, सिक्योरिटी रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर क्रिटिकल एसेट्स, एरियाज ऑफ कंसर्न एंड इम्पैक्ट डिस्क्रिप्शन मिलेंगी, करंट सिक्योरिटी प्रैक्टिसेस पता चलेगी कि अभी क्या कर रहे हैं, करंट वल्नरेबिलिटीज पता चलेगी, थ्रेट प्रोफाइल्स पता चलेंगे कि शायद कहीं से रिस्क नहीं लेकिन थ्रेट है। थ्रेट मतलब देयर आर हाई चांसेस दैट इट कैन गेट कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड। ओके, देन आउटपुट ऑफ द सेकंड फेज टेक्नोलॉजिकल व्यू में पता चलेगा कि क्रिटिकल एरियाज जो है, असेट्स जो है, वो पता चलेगा। माइट बी पॉसिबल दैट यू आर यूजिंग अ राउटर which is way old, running on a way older version of software or a system, wherein there are high chances of the router to get compromised. Or might be possible that you are using a switch in an organization, that switch is maybe 5 years old, and whose embedded system is yet not optimized. So there are high chances that switch can get compromised. Possible. There could be a lot of technical problems. There could be possible that you are still not using a private IP and you are using a shared IP address in an organization. Can happen. Okay. But current technological vulnerabilities and the key components will be understood from the technological view. And the third one, the output from the third risk analysis is going to be risk measures you will understand, risk to critical assets you will understand, protection strategies and mitigation plans. तो आपको रिस्क पता चल जाएगा, कहाँ कहाँ पे खतरा है, और उसको कम करने का प्लान। एंड सेकेंड स्टेप्स आपके जो रहेंगे, and then the senior management approval. So in these three phases of the octave is been there. Now at times it is not possible to implement this also. So for a smaller organization, now this is for a big organization. For a smaller organization, they came up with octave S for small organization. It has got only four phases. चार phase कहानी खत्म. मतलब an organization which is hardly having a few set of employees, this is something which most of us can implement in our organization because we don't have a huge multinational companies, but it is small organizations. चाहे वो आपकी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहाँ पर खाली 10 लोग काम करते हैं, एकदम छोटा सा. So it has got four processes like identifying the senior organizational information. Second process is build asset-based threat profiles. Third is identifying the infrastructure vulnerability. Fourth is develop a protection strategy and mitigation. ये आप अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पे खुद इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. इसमें आपको कोई बहुत बड़ा रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. If maximum people who are there, okay, they can use this. Uh, can you use pointer? Okay, sorry, my bad. Sorry, I'll do that. Okay, I'll just give you an idea to make you highlight this part. I'm talking about this part so that it becomes easier for all. Okay, just hello.
हमारा क्लास में बैठ मच
Somebody talking? Hello. There's some noise coming. Okay, it's gone. So, uh, which octave strategy should an organization with 70 to 100 employees can follow? You can, for 70 to 100, you can go with a proper octave strategy. Okay, but I would recommend 70-100 is fair enough. You can go with a proper complete octave strategy. But you can also, if you don't have much of time and you don't have much of resource, at least to start off with, you can go with an octave small strategy like octave S, जिसके अंदर चार फेज है. बहुत सिंपल है. पहला है कि आइडेंटिफाई द सीनियर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन्फॉर्मेशन. मतलब आपको वो देखने हैं आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर वो सीनियर पोजीशन कौन सी है, कौन कौन क्या मैनेज कर रहा है, ठीक है. उनकी थ्रेट प्रोफाइल्स देखनी है. मतलब क्या ये बंदे से रिस्क है हमें, या ये टेक्नोलॉजी से रिस्क है हमें, मोस्टली उसके कंट्रोल में है, ठीक है, और कितना उसके हाथ में कंट्रोल है, वो हम आपको खुद क्रिएट करने के दिस पर्सन कैन कॉज दिस हार्म टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. और पॉसिबल थ्रेट्स, मतलब इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज बैड. या फिर आप जो टेक्नोलॉजी यूज कर रहे हैं, आप अगर फॉर एग्जांपल क्लाउड यूज कर रहे हैं या आपने हार्ड ड्राइव्स यूज की हुई है, तो देख सकते हैं कि भाई क्या ये हार्ड ड्राइव कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो सकती है, इसको जहां मैं रख रहा हूँ जिसके हाथ में दे रहा हूँ क्या वो एरिया कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो सकता है. ऑल दीज थिंग्स यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. देन थर्ड प्रोसेस में आइडेंटिफाइंग द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वल्नरेबिलिटी, कि आपके जो पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उसकी वल्नरेबिलिटी कैसे है. लाइक क्या आप कोई ऐसी लीज लाइन यूज कर रहे हो, या शेयर्ड नेटवर्क पे आप काम कर रहे हो, कि फिर आपका सर्वर आपके ऑफिस में पड़ा रहता है और आप घर से एक्सेस कर रहे हो. दैट कुड बी द मोस्ट वल्नरेबल प्लेस. आपका सर्वर है तो वहां पर क्या 24/7 उसको मैनेज करने के लिए कोई है या नहीं है. सो दैट यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड. फोर्थ वन इज डेवलप अ प्रोटेक्शन एंड स्ट्रेटेजी. मतलब अब आपको जब पता चल गया तो आप उसके ऊपर एक मिटिगेशन प्लान बनाओगे, एक बेटर ऑप्शन. चलो एक सिंपल ऑप्शन देता हूँ आपको, कि सर्वर को आप अपने ऑफिस में रखना चाहते हो, या फिर एक ऑनलाइन सर्वर खरीदना चाहते हो जो आपका वही काम करके दे. देर आर चांसेस कि आप पूरा का पूरा काम कर रहे हैं टैली के ऊपर कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि मोस्टली चार्ट अकाउंट्स उस पर करते हैं. तो क्या आप ऐसा सोचते हैं कि अब मैं एक किसी ऑफिस में 24 घंटे चालू रखूं, और वो मेरा सर्वर पीसी है और उसको मैं घर से एक्सेस करूँ वर्क फ्रॉम होम के अंदर जैसे आजकल चल रहा है. तो ठीक है आप कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसकी क्या गारंटी कि जो सर्वर सिस्टम आपने रखा है उसको 24 घंटे मॉनिटर कौन कर रहा है, वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं हो जाए, उसका डेटा ना कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाए. और कॉम्प्रोमाइज की बात बाद में आती है. क्या पता ओवरहीट होके बंद पड़ जाए, क्या पता कि वो हार्ड ड्राइव क्रैश हो जाए, आपका जो इम्पोर्टेंट डेटा एक्सेस है वो खत्म हो जाए. आपको कल किसी का काम करना है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट काम है, और आज आप घर से काम कर रहे हैं एंड देन यू आर नॉट एबल टू एक्सेस इट, सो यू प्रोबब्ली नीड अ पर्सनल ऑल्सो 24 घंटे वहाँ उसकी सेवा करने के लिए। तो इससे अच्छा मैं कहूंगा कि why don't you buy online plan? Now there are companies who are providing similar things. For example, give you example, Zoho है. Zoho is giving you that plan. So buy that and solution and just get rid of this. Okay, so that is possible. All right. Can you give you example of critical asset from IT point of view? Okay, so I just gave you an example uh, of a critical asset, that human being is an asset, the technology is an asset. Okay, ये सारे हमारे assets हैं और ये these are the critical assets. Okay, तो यहाँ पर कुछ गलत हो सकता है, जो भी हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी है या हमारा प्रोसेस है। प्रोसेस कैसे है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपने रखा है कि आपके ऑफिस को खोलने के लिए एक बंदा है जिसके पास चाबी है, वो खोलता है, फिर अंदर की मेन कैबिन की चाबी किसी और के पास है, तो ये एक प्रोसेस हो जाता है। उसी तरीके से आईटी सिस्टम के अंदर भी या इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर भी ऐसे सेट ऑफ प्रोसेसेस है कि एक सिस्टम का एडमिन लॉगिन किसी के पास है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर लॉगिन के बाद वो किसी को राइट्स देगा, so it's a process, somebody has to be rely on somebody else, so it's one action connected to another action. Okay, so that's how it is. उसके अंदर सिक्योरिटी रिस्क आपको फिगर आउट करना है। ओके, इट्स मोर ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन डेप्थ, आपको खुद अपना दिमाग लगाना है, सोचना है क्या सही है क्या गलत है। ओके, then somebody is running in a cost effective way. Yes, in a cost effective way, you can now cost effective way में ऐसा होना जैसे you have to choose here what type of cost. Is it, are you looking for the cost which is going to be one time spent, or you are looking for the long term benefit कि एक बार invest कर दो चलेगा लेकिन लंबा benefit है। So cost effective way, I think maximum CEs can do better than me. मतलब being an IT guy, I would be bad in understanding cost. I would always go for the best solution. मतलब सब कुछ पेड ले लो, but my a lot of CA friends who are there, they वो बहुत सारे जुगाड़ में मानते हैं, तो ऐसे सस्ते जुगाड़ निकाल लेते हैं, मैं सोचा भी नहीं होता, मैं कहता हूँ यार टेक्नोलॉजी वाला मैं हूँ, जुगाड़ उसने निकाल लिया। बिकॉज आर यू गेटिंग इट, शायद मैं वो कॉस्ट की तरफ इतना ध्यान नहीं देता, मैं क्वालिटी की तरफ ध्यान देता, चलो ले लो खत्म करो, डर लगता है। तो वैसा है, मे बी दैट हाँ, IT investment is never ending. Rather, I would say investment is never ending. Not only IT, IT तो आपको भी ऐसे दिख रहा है, लेकिन अब कई लोग जो जुगाड़ जानते हैं वो तो सस्ते में भी कर लेते हैं। So it's investment is never ending if you are running an organization. Now it totally depends. तो फिर ये this subject turns out to be IT सिक्योरिटी से निकल के फिर ये बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं, फिर वैसा वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ जाती है इसके अंदर। इसीलिए in ITIL there is a part where they explain you how to manage the funds, especially in an organization, वो भी बताया जाता है। Any further questions? There are people who are writing. Will recommend convener to plan a session on IT जुगाड़। वो शायद जुगाड़ वाला जो प्लान है वो आप दे दीजिए, मुझे तो नहीं आएगा डिलीवर करना। it's a long term saving. Yes, it is a long term saving. Sometimes I'll tell you, security ना एक ऐसी चीज है, आप डेफिनेटली यही सोचो कि जितना भी इन्वेस्ट करो उतना कम ही है, लेकिन सिक्योरिटी वर्क्स ऑन थ्रेट, ये डर से चलता है। सिक्योरिटी की तो पूरी फुल डर से चलती है। अगर आप फियरलेस हो, आप कुछ नहीं होगा, देखी जाएगी, नुकसान हुआ तो भी कुछ मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, तो आप कुछ भी खर्चा नहीं करोगे। लेकिन अगर आप डरपोक हो मेरी तरह नई नई छोटी छोटी चीजों के लिए, तो शायद आप हर वो चीज में खर्चा ज्यादा करोगे जहाँ नहीं भी करना चाहिए, कि नहीं नहीं ये यहाँ भी सिक्योरिटी डालो, वहाँ भी सिक्योरिटी, ये भी वो अच्छा वाला, वो भी अच्छा वाला, तो ऐसी बात है। तो क्योंकि आईटी फ्रेटर्निटी में ओपन सोर्स की चीजें अवेलेबल है, जिससे हम फ्रीवेयर्स कहते हैं, और प्रीमियम वेयर्स भी अवेलेबल है, तो फ्रीमियम एंड प्रीमियम दोनों है। अब हम क्या चूज करते हैं हमारे काम के लिए वो अपने ऊपर है। लाइक मैं ऑलवेज प्रीमियम पे नहीं ज्यादा रिलाई करना चाहता, बिकॉज मुझे डर लगता है कहीं ना कहीं, ऐसा है। But जब भी development की बात आती है तो open source is something which I prefer more than a proprietary one for its own obvious benefits of it because it gives you a lot of flexibility which proprietary might not give you. Okay. Any further question on that? Any further questions? So today, I would like to take, if you have any further questions or anything else also, you can ask me. I don't want to bore you with more of redundant speech because I understand, and I hope you've got an idea about the frameworks. My point here today was to give you an idea about the frameworks. The frameworks होते क्या हैं? तो दो frameworks आपने देखी, ऐसे और भी frameworks हैं. तो अगर आपको इसका आइडिया आ गया तो we can have a few more questions coming from your end.
सौरभ सर
हेलो, हाँ जी.
हेलो
हेलो,
हो गया
यस.
सेशन सर
नहीं नहीं, मैं क्वेश्चंस ले रहा हूँ
हाँ
और लोग लिख रहे हैं तो मैं जस्ट वो वेट कर रहा हूँ.
ओके
सो
ओके
देन
थैंक
विल बी डन. थोड़ी देर में.
ठीक है ठीक
Okay, so the question here from Vineet is why frauds are still happening online at large scale, even though we have such guidelines or frameworks. Again, guidelines है, follow कौन करता है? As I said, guidelines है, frameworks है, implementation कितने किया है available, लेकिन उसको implement करोगे तो फायदा होगा. Guidelines are only giving you direction, but you need to follow. Another thing, even if you follow all the guidelines, there is still not guarantee. There is no guarantee that you will have security. You know what? In IT security fraternity, the maximum security what an organizations are being promised is in a percentage. If we go and see, it's 5%. Like you can have maximum security to an organization is just 5%, and after that, nothing. Any tool from recovery data from the network drives, such as what kind of network drives, if you can give an example of it, so I can. मिश्रा जी ये साउंड ऑफ कर देंगे. हेलो मिश्रा जी,
हम्म,
आपका माइक ऑफ कर देंगे, एक्चुअली वो वॉइस हो रहा है. I need to. Sorry. So, can you share something on CMM and 5 levels of CMM? Now, CMM, as far as I know, it's a capability maturity model, okay, which is there in these organizations. So, I can share. It's more like a management part. It's very difficult, to be honest, to give you an entire explanation, but let me tell you, maybe in a small little, you know, nutshell. Uh, it specifies a certain set of understanding where you can align your organization again. So these are again guidelines for your organization. So to help it understand whether how better your organization is going. Again, network lost. There is always a tussle between IT security and business needs. Okay, proper balance is important. That's true. Is software VPN client manager is safe to use? I haven't used it, so can't comment on that. Any other questions? No. Somebody said what else? Ah, okay. Characteristics. That is, oh, that's okay. I mean, वो picture you send, it's fine. But it needs its own understanding again. See, there are a lot many models in the industry to align all the working. Somewhere there is in software industry, especially Prince 2, all these models are being used to have a better development and all that. They're good, but ultimately they are doing one or the similar thing. थोड़ा बहुत different है, but कहीं ना कहीं एक दूसरे के साथ similarity नहीं जा रहे हैं. Achievement सबको एक ही चीज चाहिए कि better outcome आए in the low cost. That's it. Definitely. Are you able to hear my voice? The connection to GoToWebinar server is lost. Hello, is my voice audible? Because I see this message. Hello. Yes. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I just happened to got a pop-up message. Okay. Our will also come up with the same MI model version 2 for practicing forms. Possibly. Possibly. I have now. I don't know what they have come out with. I'm connecting this for legacy CA forms to move to cloud-based approach. Step-by-step approach. Okay, good. If you are giving the ideas to, but I would say, see, when you are trying to move to cloud now, as a smaller organization, go for the solutions which are available. And like people are doing best. Microsoft is there, Google is there. These have been doing better since years. They know much better. Just buy off their service and that's it. I believe. Refer our institute CMM number. Okay. I'll refer. Mm, how much time it should take to implement entire COVID model in any organization? Lifetime. It's not a process which is once implemented and it's a lifetime. It goes on. Okay. So एक बार implement हो गया खत्म. It goes on. That's it. आज के लिए इतना काफी है. और सवाल जवाब Initial stage. There is no initial stage. I mean, like you can't define. You can't define initial stage of security, or you can't define the betterment. मतलब it's like अच्छा है और अच्छा करना है और अच्छा करते रहना है. बेटर बेटर है और बेटर करके और बेटर करते रहना है. तो it's like that. Okay. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you everyone. And that's it for today. Any tool for recovering data in LAN environment? LAN environment doesn't stores any data, so practically, हाँ जी, मिश्रा जी, that's it, हो गया. Basically, LAN environment doesn't store any data, so that's it.
So if the members are no questions, then we will conclude this session. We are very much thankful to Saurabh sir for giving this intellectual session. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
I'll share the PPT. I'll share the PPTs. Don't worry.
Mishra ji, Mishra ji, Mishra ji, Mishra ji.